Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I have an amazing topic for you. So this came from a lot of people that I've talked to in DMs, comments, my Discord, Chart Confidence, which you could find the link in the description box below, and so many other places, basically just trying to nail down how do you build confidence in trading. You've been trading for a while, you still get scared when it comes to entering the market, and you see the setup, you don't take the trade. I have experienced all of those different things, and today I want to share with you some of those things that I have done in order to overcome this inside of the market. So before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do so. There's a lot of amazing content on this channel for new traders like yourself. Even if you have a little bit of experience and want to shore up some things, there's something on this channel for you. So go ahead and subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so that way you'll be notified every time a new video drops. All right, so one thing I want to start with here is this quote by Mark Douglas. So if you don't know who Mark Douglas is, he has this amazing book called Trading in the Zone. And essentially I've read that book, I want to say 3 to 4 times already. And I try to read it a couple times, so it's probably time for me to read it again. But basically he says successful traders are confident not because they always win, but because they have faith in their ability to manage risk and adapt to changing market conditions. So that is so true. And we're going to go through some of those things that I have done to build confidence in my skills. So some of the biggest challenges, I already talked about this, but this is what I heard from you all. Basically, maybe you just started trading, don't know where to start, totally cool. This video is going to help you with that. And then maybe you've been trading for a couple of years, you have a fear of taking the entry, you're not profitable yet, and you're trying to figure out, well, what the heck do I do in order to get to profitability because I've been in this thing for years. So another thing is not knowing where to place stop loss or manage risk and stuff like that. So I do have other videos on this channel that goes into some of those things in a little bit more depth, especially my chart with me videos where I talk about my setups. So the first thing I want to talk about is mindset. So before you click off, basically understand that mindset when it comes to trading is everything. And I used to be one of those people where I would hear like trading psychology or mindset or something like that, and I'm like, like another one of those videos, don't have time for that. But once I got to, this actually came last for me, but once I started to really think about it and really adjust my behavior, then that's when I became profitable. So some of the things that I did was focus on abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. So one of the things that was holding me back from entering into the market when I saw my setup was the fear of losing money. So for me, what that looked like, or at least the thing that I adjusted, was basically decreasing the amount of money that I risked per trade. That was one of the things that helped. And then also not seeing it as, oh, okay, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to lose X number of dollars. See it as the potential to gain X number of dollars, especially because a lot of times when I do my analysis and when I'm looking for trades, I'm looking for at least a 2 multiple. So what that means is, hypothetically, if I put $100 into the market, I'm expecting to gain $200 from the market for that trade. So just kind of switching your mindset around that and thinking about it in those terms will really help you shift your mindset and take more of those trades. And I heard this from somebody else, but basically they said, if I see my setup, forget it. They used a different word, but they said, F it, I'm taking it. So that's pretty much the mindset that I have adopted, and that has really worked out because, as we all know, trading is about probabilities and nothing is 100%. So another thing that I switched was, instead of saying I can't do X, or like I can't afford this, or I can't do this, or whatever it is, I switched to how can I? So one of the things that I'm working on doing right now, even with a full-time job, is I'm trying to figure out how can I trade the London session, maybe not 100% of the London session, but a part of the session. So that will require me to get up insanely early compared to what I do now. And I'm trying to figure out ways, how could I adjust my lifestyle so that way I can get up early and trade the London session, mainly because in a couple of videos ago, I showed you how some of the really big moves happen in the London session, but sometimes it may be choppy in the New York session or whatever. So basically, based on the markets that I trade, I'm trying to figure out how can I get up early? How can I take those trades inside of the London session? And now I'm exploring ways to adjust my life. And since I have a full-time job, how can I adjust maybe the time that I start or something like that in order to accommodate that? So just all kinds of things that I'm thinking about in my head, just as an example. But when it comes to you and your trading, just think about different things that you want to do. And don't say, I can't. Like, that's going to hinder you. Say, how can I do it ever? So, for instance, how can I afford that course? How can I work with that coach? How can I take this trade? Whatever it is. So another thing is eliminating excuses because the market does not care about you or your account. So that's kind of tied into the abundance versus scarcity mindset piece, but basically not blaming market conditions, not blaming whatever, basically taking ownership of whatever the situation is and trying to find a way to do better. I remember when I first started, I heard this term thrown around so many times, market manipulation and stop loss hunts and all that. So basically I bought into that. And then I got to a point where I was thinking, well, it can't be market manipulation every single time I take a trade. All right, so just all of these things that we hear in the market that people say, I just try to ignore those things and just focus on what can I do to improve my trading and just move on from there. So one of my favorite quotes by Kobe Bryant, we all know who he is. He was amazing basketball player. And he said, I have nothing in common with lazy people who blame others for their lack of success. Great things come from hard work and perseverance, no excuses. So that is the same kind of mindset that I take inside of trading and basically just in my life in general. So the next thing I do is look at time. So one of the things that I did early on in my journey was to put a time limit on my trading. And I said things like, I want to become a profitable trader in 3 months. And then that was 6 months and whatever. And basically me putting this time pressure on myself did not help with my psychology because I was thinking more about the scarcity side versus the abundance side. And then another thing too, is that you can't really put a time limit on when you're going to become profitable as a trader. And the thing about it is, it takes time. And then you also have to put in way more effort than you ever imagined possible in order to even get to that point. So a lot of times, and this happens just in life in general, just using myself as an example, when it came to trading, I was thinking about in terms of months, not necessarily in terms of years when it came to improving my trading. So I got to a point where I started to treat trading like a 4-year degree, meaning that if it takes me 4 years to get to the profitable phase and I'm doing everything that I am doing in order to reach that, then I am going to do that. And then I look back at how I spent 6 years in undergrad, so basically getting a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And in that time frame, I wasn't always thinking about quitting. There were a couple of times I was thinking about quitting and maybe starting a modeling career or something like that. But obviously that didn't work out. But I'm really happy that things worked out the way that they did because it was something that I stuck to and something that was really rewarding after I walked across that stage and finally got my degree. And then that led into a whole bunch of other things like getting 2 master's degrees, one from Johns Hopkins University and the other from Yale University. So those things wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have finished that 4-year, or in my case, 6-year degree. So when it comes to trading, I kind of look at it in that way where I am going to put in as much effort and time and energy, money, whatever I have into this thing in order to be successful because it is worth it to me. And when you're looking at your own trading journey, you have to have that level of drive and perseverance and all of that in order to be successful, because it's not like some of the concepts can be kind of confusing to understand, but at the same time, it's about making incremental progress. And that's basically, what happens when you're getting any type of degree. You're not going to start, I didn't start off with calculus. I started off with a lower level math and then worked my way up. And then I eventually got a math minor, which I didn't even know there was math beyond calculus, but it's the same with trading. You start off with the basics and then you work your way up into more advanced concepts, and then the things that were hard before are insanely easy. So just kind of think of it in that way. One of the things that really helped me as well was setting goals in terms of learning one specific thing. So for instance, I will say at the end of last year, I wanted to get better at risk management. So I spent, I want to say maybe a month or two just focusing on different risk management techniques in order to improve my trading. And then it was an incremental thing, but then over time, I did see that I was losing less money and having bigger winners. So in terms of my trading, so focusing on one thing really helped me. And that can be anything. For me, it was some technical analysis things, entry methods, and then so many other things. But focusing on one thing for, I would say, at least 30 days really helped me improve my trading over time. Back to education. So finding somebody that you like or you want to learn from, and also making sure that you learn the right things. And I say this because when I first started my trading journey, I was learning all different types of methods. And I'm sure if you YouTube how to start trading, there's going to be so many topics. Like, I don't even know how many, but it feels like thousands of different topics, thousands of different methods. And, to that person that's teaching it, it works for them, and that's great. So that's the cool thing about trading, is that there's not just one way to do it. There's literally an infinite number of ways, which is, infinity is not a number, but basically it's just a representation of how many things are out there in terms of ways to trade. So when I first started, I was looking at a whole bunch of different things, ended up getting some information that was helpful, but then I had to continue that journey. So one thing that really helped was finding one strategy that I like. And if you've looked at any of my chart with me videos, you know that I really like the support and resistance strategy. So that is the key strategy that I use inside of my trading, and I stick with that. There's all these other things out there. They're new and shiny, at least to me, and it seems cool, but I'm not adjusting my strategy for anything just because it's something that really works for me. And if it works, I'm going to stick with that. So that's something for you to consider in your own trading as well. And then for me, there wasn't just one aha moment. All of those different moments came over time. And when I first finally understood support and resistance and how it worked, it was like, oh, okay, now I understand why I should take a trade from this level versus a different level. And then of course, over time, it was refining that different strategy. So pretty much with the chart with me videos that I create, it takes me about 15-20 minutes to analyze one different market. And that's mainly because I'm talking everything out. Now, if I'm doing it myself, it may take way less than that, but it was through a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, and a whole bunch of other things in order to get to this point. And if you're not at that point in your journey right now, you will get to that point with practice, with time. You just got to keep going. There are some methods that I use. So let me go through these one by one. So the first method that I used was watching videos and reading books. So that's obviously a good place to start. But sometimes some of those concepts in those books or in those videos may be a little confusing, and you may need some more context. So the next thing I did was trying it out on my own. And this was helpful mainly because I'm actually doing the things in the video and just getting the feeling of actually placing a trade. That for me at first was really scary, even though I had a lot of experience with the regular stock market and making enough money, not once, but twice, to be able to quit my job and travel and just take an extended time off from work. But it was still scary because trading was new to me, and I knew that I had to try it. So just trying it and getting that experience, building that muscle memory in terms of actually clicking the button was really helpful for me. Although it didn't always work out, but just clicking the button, it can be hard at times. And trading courses. So this was somewhat helpful. So just to clarify, in my mind, a trading course is more of, here's some videos, good luck. And, you know, that could be helpful for some people, especially if you're at a more advanced state in your trading career. That could be cool. Even if you're at the beginning, that could be cool as well. It just all depends on you, your learning style, and how much time you have to devote to it. So for me, it was somewhat helpful because it gave me a lot more context in a very condensed amount of time. Now, one thing that was much better than that was trading boot camps. And I did two trading, actually three trading boot camps, but one was like a little bit different, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the trading boot camps were really helpful because I got the opportunity to ask that person specific questions. Now, sometimes in those boot camps, depending on how large it is, it could be a little intimidating asking questions because you don't want to sound stupid in front of a whole bunch of people and it's being recorded and all of that. But it was still very helpful to be able to ask those questions to that person that was teaching. So the most helpful was one-on-one coaching. And pretty much this was essentially me and a pro trader working side by side. I show this person my trades, they give me some feedback, and then they'll show me how they would have did things differently or things that I can look at to further enhance my trading. And that was so helpful. That is the thing that I recommend. And because these are all things that I have done. And one thing to think about is that trading is a business and investing in yourself is going to be extremely important. So when it comes to looking at trading as a business, you are the CEO, your skills are your product, and the market, whichever market you choose, will reward you if you have a great skill set and take money away if not. So just kind of thinking of it in those terms really helped me look at trading differently and not just, try to be cheap or save a buck or whatever. And really investing in myself was insanely helpful in order to increase my confidence when it came to taking trades on my own and ultimately profiting from the market. So another thing to do is to prepare. Obviously, like we've talked a lot about a whole bunch of different things that you could do in order to improve your trading, but basically developing a trading plan and sticking with it was really helpful for me. So before I had a trading plan, I was just kind of just taking trades randomly. I had a whole watch list of maybe like 20 different markets that I was looking. I would go through all of them, and then whatever the best setup was at the time, I would take that trade. And I still kind of do that to this day, but back then, there was no rhyme or reason to me really taking the trade. It was more of like a spray and pray type of strategy that obviously does not work. Lost a lot of money doing that. But basically, by coming up with a trading plan and actually sticking with it, that helped me be more consistent in my trading, and also tracking and reviewing my trading metrics. That was more helpful. That was actually something that my one-on-one coach emphasized heavily. And then once I started doing that, I started to see bigger gains in the market. And then my favorite trading journal that I use today is TradeZella. So there will be this link in the description below if you want to go ahead and check that out for yourself. But let me scoot in a little bit. So here is a screenshot from a trade that I took on Thursday, which was just a few days ago. And yes, this was a gaining trade. This was a options trade where there was a 40% gain, so that's cool. But I realized that even though it was a gaining trade, I could have done better in this particular trade, mainly because I like this scale right here. It tells me where the highest profit was and then where I exited. So even though I exited for a profit, I could have done better. So what I'll be doing is going back into my trading journal, and it looks like my entry was cool. This was an uptrend, so I took a buy, of course. And basically what was happening here when I got out of the market, it came up and then price ended up closing bearish. So that's when I got out, but maybe there was some sort of indication that I could have gotten out much sooner and captured more of those profits. So those are things that I'll be looking at once I go and actually journal this trade, because I haven't yet, but go back and journal this trade and I give myself some feedback on how I did. So inside of here, one of the things that I do like is that you can create templates. So I created a template, pretty much some journal prompts for me in order to answer some questions and really think about the trade. And of course, improve. So that's the whole goal of this thing. So this is going to be insanely important because you can look at your stats over time, not just 1 or 2 trades, and go ahead and improve those methods. So next thing is practice. Of course, I am a big proponent of this, and I actually created this video right here called How I Trade Without Losing Money. So I go over a bunch of different techniques that I use in order to practice and in order to increase my skill set inside of the market. So go ahead and check this video out. And at the time of this recording, this is an insanely popular video on this channel with over 200 likes, over 5,000 views at this particular time. So if these people love it, I'm sure you'll love it as well. So go ahead and check that out. Backtest. So backtesting is insanely important. And I do talk about that a little bit in that particular video. But once I started to trade gold, which is XAU USD, I could not figure that market out for nothing. I was trying to figure out, well, how could I get profitable in this market, because every trade that I took when I first started was a loser. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird because I'm good in A market, I'm good in B market, and I'm good in C market, but not this market. So I had to learn some of the nuances of this particular market. And once I did that, I became profitable, and one of those things that helped me do that was through backtesting. So I used to spend hours and hours backtesting this particular market. Then it got to a point where it was just not a big deal when I actually went to the market because I was confident in my setups. I was confident in taking the trade because I did it so many times in the simulator. And the simulator that I use is Soft4FX. And then of course there's other softwares that you can use, but this is my favorite one, mainly because I could do a couple weeks of backtesting in just an hour. Well, these days I do roughly like 30 minutes, an hour, kind of max, and I try to do it at least every week. So it's going to be insanely helpful for you to do that, because that's the thing that helped me the most. And like I said, check it out and see if you like it. So the other thing here is to rinse and repeat. So basically just doing the same things over and over and over again. Once you learn the right strategies and methods and things within trading that you should be learning, depending on whatever strategy you decide to go for. And I know that it's kind of overwhelming, especially in the beginning, to really figure out what you want to do. But I definitely recommend support and resistance, price action type of trading in order to start, because you're just focused on the candles here. You see that there's no indicators. Granted, this isn't here, but there's generally no indicators on my chart. I do use some tools. If you go ahead and check out those chart with me videos, then you will see exactly what I mean. Just keep it simple and clean. And that is a strategy that worked for me. So once you get to this point where you're rinsing and repeating and doing the same thing over and over again, it will start to make sense. Please trust me on that. And just know that there's no silver bullet in trading or in anything in life. It's just one of those things. You just gotta go at it and just continue to do it. And over time, you'll get great. So this is all I have on this topic today. If you want to see other topics, go ahead and comment in the comment section below. Of course, I read all of the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.